Hey folks, I'm Vasel here.
Jason Levine.
Today we're taking a look at a game that came out in mass market stores from Milton Bradley. I believe this might have been, no, they were already acquired by Hasbro, never mind.
Yes.
They had been recently acquired by Hasbro. It's Star Wars Epic Duels. Now I believe this game is kind of pricey on eBay right now.
Yes, because like most Star Wars games that came out around the time of The Phantom Menace Episode 1,
Right, you'll never see these being remade.
Yeah, they're not.
Well, I mean, they
being
might
remade.
remake a version of this, but it will never be quite like this one, just like Star Wars Queen's Gambit, etc.
Yeah, I mean, they did a second version of this in Transformers World.
That's right, I forgot about that. And they are actually compatible.
Yes. Yeah, you could have Transformers fighting against Luke and Leia. Interesting.
Yeah! Well, let's take a look at this one. Here we go. So what players are going to do is they're going to pick their sides they're going to be. Usually it's good versus evil in some sort of fashion. So you're going to pick which group of people. You can do it randomly, or you can simply just pick what person. You're going to get a card with that team. So if I pick Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'll also get the 2 clone troopers. If I pick Count Dooku, I'll get 2 super battle droids. If I pick Darth Vader, I get 2 stormtroopers. If I pick Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia comes along with him. And so you can see each of them has their own deck of cards. So here we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, young Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, Darth Vader, Luke and Leia. Here we have Han and Chewie together. We have the Emperor with 2 of his royal guards. Down here we have Anakin along with the princess. Here we have Jango Fett with the assassin. We have Mace Windu with 2 clone troopers. We have Darth Maul with 2 battle droids. Yoda with 2 clone troopers. And Boba Fett, for some reason, is working with Greedo. Now, the clone troopers are pretty much the same, and you're going to take these cards and put them in front of you, and you're going to put markers here to show their health. So you can see Luke Skywalker has 17 health, which is more than Han and Chewie, but here you have 2 people that basically have equal health. The Emperor has fewer health, but his Royal Guard have more health than maybe, let's say, the clone troopers do. Mace Windu, though, has a lot more health than most of the different people have. So they're going to have this, but you also have a deck of cards which you're going to be shuffling and using over the course of the game. So when you're playing the game, you're going to pick where you're going to fight. So you can use the arena, you can use here the Camino platform, you can use the carbon freezing chamber, or you can use the Emperor's throne room, which is my personal favorite. So let's say you're playing with Han and Chewie, that's your team. So you're going to look on here for where it says Han Solo, and it says Han Solo here, so you'll place him here. He's considered your main character. And let's say you're fighting against Count Dooku, so Count Dooku goes here. Then you roll a die to see who places next, and then you put your person adjacent to you wherever you might want to place them. So maybe Count Dooku places his stuff adjacent like this. Each person is going to shuffle their deck, and then the way the game plays is on your turn, you are going to roll a die. So you roll a die, and you're going to be able to move one or multiple characters. If you roll just one number, like this 3, it's a 3, 4, 5, and a 3, 4, and 5. You can move one character that many spaces. There's also a move all your characters 2, all your characters 3, or all your characters 4, based on what you roll. And so you can move around and try to get into better position. You then get 2 actions. Those actions can be drawing a card from your deck. You'll start with some cards, but you'll want to draw more of them as time goes by. You can play a card. Many of the times your card is going to be an attack on an adjacent character. So let's say this droid here is going to attack Chewbacca. So I say I'm playing an attack card. Chewbacca then decides whether they will play a defensive card or not. So let's say Chewbacca does play a defensive card. We then flip them over. The attack on the attacking card, we go by the attack, is 3. The defense on Chewbacca is 3. Nothing happens. But let's say Chewbacca had played this defensive card here against that card. Then Chewbacca would have defended a 1 on an attack of 3, and therefore would have taken a difference of 2 damage. So then we would have just simply looked at the sheet for Chewbacca and moved him down 2. Now the whole point of this game is to obviously kill the opponent's characters, but the goal of the game is actually to kill your opponent's main character. You do that, you take them out of the game. So you're going to be moving around, and you'll see each deck has cards, but this card can only be used by Chewbacca, and this card can only be used by Han Solo. There's also special cards, for example, Heroic Retreat. This is an attack of 5. You can play it, but after attacking, you can move him 5 spaces. Or here, never tell me the odds. Han does 2 damage to all opponents' characters. Han can attack, and then you shuffle your discard pile into your draw pile. So they all have different things. Chewbacca, move any character next to Chewbacca 3 spaces. That character then receives 3 damage. So it's like Chewbacca has thrown him. Or here, Chewbacca just has an attack of 11. That's crazy. So you have to know the best times when to play each of these cards. And each deck is very different. Let's say you're playing with Boba Fett here and Greedo. You can see their attack and defensive cards are different. But here, Boba Fett has a rocket retreat. He can go to any space after doing an attack. Here, Greedo has an attack 7, but if he doesn't kill the opponent, then Greedo dies. Here he has a wrist cable where the person who controls the attacked character gets 1 less action the next turn. The Emperor has some really nasty cards where he can basically, recovers 4 damage, and then that person can't draw cards the next turn. Or they discard 2 cards. Or they discard their whole hand, the Emperor. Mace Windu has all sorts of special attacks where they are equal to the number of cards in his hand after he plays the attack. So everyone has kind of a very different ability. Now, your minor characters might get killed off pretty easily. Now, when that happens, then you can use their cards. So let's say I'm Count Dooku, and I have drawn this card. Well, it's worthless to me because both the Super Battle Droids are gone. But I can now use this as an extra action to heal my character. So that's another action that you can take. And so your character can heal some damage for each of those cards that is played. When you're healing damage, you are going to heal 1 point of damage. So it's not a ton, but it's better than nothing. And again, that's a third action that you can take. So you keep going till you destroy your opponent's main character, in which case you win. You can play with teams where you'll have multiple people against each other on the board, and then you have to take them out, or you can each play with, you can even play one-on-one with multiple characters. But the game is pretty quick, and that's how it works. All right, so first of all, does the theme of this bother you, the fact that you have people fighting who would never normally fight? Like you might have Anakin fighting Darth Vader.
It actually does. That's the one thing
Really,
about
that bugs
this game
you?
that bugs me. Like,
So you don't like anachronisms at all?
no, when I play, I only play, original trilogy characters against original trilogy and prequel characters against prequel. I cannot have Anakin and Padme fighting against Luke and Leia. It bothers me too much.
So you don't play HeroScape at all then? All right, well, that does not bother me at all. I think that's hilariously fun. And I think, for the most part, they feel balanced. Now, they probably shouldn't be balanced. Okay? If the Emperor and 2 of his royal guards come in, and they're going up against Han and Chewie, I'm sorry, I know everyone loves Han, but he's going to lose against the Emperor.
Well, the Emperor does beat Han most of the time. The Emperor's powers are stronger.
Han can beat the Emperor. It's very possible.
It is possible. I don't know. We have to play it again with Han and the Emperor and see how close it is.
I'm just saying that, but still, you know what I'm saying? It's like not.
Yeah.
There's no chance of that happening, and especially if they just walk in. Hey, we're fighting. Okay, maybe if Han sets up a trap or something.
Well, as soon as Han went to shoot his gun, the Emperor or Darth Vader would go like
pulled
this,
it from him.
and the bullets would shoot off and everything.
Now, what I really did like about this fact is how many different teams are in this box. I was really surprised by that. If you bought a game like this today, you would get 4 teams at most.
Yes, and you get, I don't know
Here
how
you
many
get, I think, 11 teams in here.
No, more than that.
No, it's 11 teams, not 11 people. So my favorite team of these teams is probably, oh man, I don't know. I want to say Boba Fett and Greedo, just because I think it's funny to see Greedo get killed every time.
Yes, mine's Luke and Leia. I mean, Luke is really good in it, and Leia's, a good sidekick for it because she shoots her gun, but Luke has good force powers in the game. So Luke and Leia are still my favorite. Also, that's my favorite movie, so, I go with that one more than anything else.
Now, the gameplay itself, I really like, well, I guess we should talk about the fact that the boards are okay quality. The figures are okay plastic. These are not great painted figures. Some of them, like the Stormtroopers, are essentially, they have a black gun.
Yes.
Right? That's not great stuff.
The decks.
And the decks are fine. They're nice and small, and you have them all here, nice plastic bags. And the game comes with just a single die. I'm not real keen on the die. I think the weakest part of the game, because if you roll better movement than me, you probably will beat me.
Probably, but I do like the decks. I like the gameplay, how
Yes.
the gameplay is in the deck. And each deck is unique to each team, and
Right,
I
they're
think
very
that's-
asymmetrical, and I really enjoy how they're all very different with attacks and
Yes.
defenses.
And that's the key to the game is, how you use your deck and how you play the cards out of your deck. And I think that's the key to this game.
Yeah, of course. Now, one thing we need to make clear, I mean, maybe you disagree with me on this, but this game is not a heavy strategic or tactical game.
No.
It's very light. You're just playing the cards. Yes, of course, the key of the game is the decks where I'm playing cards and trying to block the other person, but it's more silly fun. I've
Yes.
never lost in epic duels and thought, if only I had done this. No, it's usually, you got me. All right, let's play again. And games are quick enough to do that.
Yes.
And in fact, I played this game a lot with kids, and I found that I can even have teams of kids. And we'll have Luke and Leia and Padme and Anakin against the Emperor. And I know you don't want to mix sides and stuff, but you can have big combos of people fighting each other, and it actually works okay. You can just use 2 of the boards or something like that.
No, you could even use one board and play with 2 characters if you want. And make everything tight.
Well, right. You can make it super tight then, but then that kind of disenfranchises some of the people with more range and stuff.
True.
Should you hunt this game down and pay exorbitant amounts of money for it? I don't
No.
think you should.
No.
If you find it at a yard sale, buy it instantly. If you find it at a thrift store, buy it on the spot. All right? If only you can flip it on eBay for some profit. But no. But I mean, it's a fun game to have in the collection. I no longer have mine, not because I don't like it, but because one of the kids loved it so much that I gave it to him. He just enjoyed it that much, and I was like, well, I'll give it to a place where I think someone will have a good time playing it.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm like, oh man, I wish I still had that game because it was so fun.
Yes.
And like Jason said at the beginning, there was a Transformers version.
Yes.
The Transformers version was not as good. There was fewer things in it, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And they didn't balance perfectly, but it was still kind of funny to say, here's the Emperor going up against Optimus Prime.
Yes.
Who's your money on?
Transformers.
In real life.
Transformers would destroy Star Wars people. Optimus and Bumblebee any day over the Emperor.
See, now there's going to be an argument on our forums about that. All right, so even though it is out of print, so let's take that aside. What's your awesomeness rating?
Well, this one I like. I mean, again, like we said, it's a very simple battle game, but it's set in the Star Wars world, and it always increases a rating for me. So I give it a 7.
Yep, same here. Awesomeness rating of 7. What Jason just said, it's a simple, fun game. Star Wars certainly does elevate it to having that cool theme. It kind of lets you do these matchups that you would not have done earlier, so I like it a lot. But really, don't pay $200-300 for it. But if you find it somewhere cheap, or you know someone who owns it, give it a try. It's not just for kids, it's for everybody.
It's for adults. I mean, it came out when we were loving these movies. It came out in what, 2000 and some early 2000s.
It came out, I think it was after the second movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they have Count Dooku and stuff in here, and Mace Windu. So anyway, that's Star Wars Epic Duels.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.